Thank you. That's a very big question. It's probably the subject of an entire book, if not a series of books.
Tell me about it.
And actually, I would like to correct the way that I was introduced, because I always speak about myself, not as a white South African, but as a white settler, as a foreigner on this continent, as every is very much the same as we're seeing in apartheid Israel, where settlers have invaded the land of other people. So I'm always clear about that definition and query whether there is anything as a white South African, never mind white African. To me, that doesn't exist. And your question is very profound, because we speak about an anti-apartheid South Africa, a post-apartheid South Africa. But in many ways, in 1994, there was not much change. And all we saw was in this grand gesture and generous gesture from a Black government and Black South Africans. We spoke about this miracle nation and about the notion of reconciliation, as if reconciliation can ever take place between an oppressor and an oppressed group. But we were touted as a miracle nation. But apartheid continues, and economically, certainly. And that's the pain and tragedy of South Africa. Sadly, 30 years later, we are going backwards, because with the government of national unity, we've seen the oppressor even taking a stronger role in the political realm of South Africa. And we're going to see a backward movement in terms of its appearance and role on the world stage, as we're going to veer towards a Western perspective, and one that really supports and reinforces the white supremacy that is almost omnipotent in South Africa.
You know, I truly appreciate that very frank and honest response you gave to my my question. I'm sure that the question itself and your response to the question makes a lot of folk feel a bit uncomfortable on all sides. Uh, Brother Tahir, what are your thoughts on that same question? You know, South Africa yesterday versus South Africa today. Uh, what are your thoughts, brother? And also tell me, Brother Tahir, how were you, the tribe that you come from, how were you classified? Were you classified as colored or as Black South African? And you know, is does that equation still factor into the South Africa of today? And if so, how so?
Yeah, thank you very much, El Haj, and to Kim. Kim is very dear to us in many respects. She's one of the few white people that exist in this world that are honest about the realities that we are facing as a nation. We really appreciate her. You know, I'm one of those who lived in both sides of the sandwich. I lived partly during the apartheid period, and I also lived post-apartheid. Now, one of the things that should be a determining factor between the two periods is that what has changed. Because a lot of people sacrificed their lives, a lot of people died for this pie in the sky, for that was supposed to be a just country for all its citizens. And all of that is on paper. You know, South Africa is one of those amazing countries where we are good when coming to articulating things on paper. Everything looks beautiful on paper in this country. But the reality of the situation is that as a person that is classified as black nowadays. Before 1994, I was classified as a kafir by the South African regime, the white regime, and some of them, they're still calling us that, by the way, even today in our country, and they get away with it. You can see that there's this systematic hatred that is inherent in some of these people, that according to them, we're not even supposed to be here. Never mind coexist or live together in the country. Despite the fact that our leaders since 1994 preached the message of tolerance, preached the message of brotherhood, the dream of the so-called rainbow nation. And because of the nature of South Africans with the concept of Ubuntu, we gave this whole thing a chance to say that maybe as we grow, we transition as a country, things will get better. Unfortunately, things are not getting better. Now we are seeing the ugly head being bold. They are no longer doing these things behind closed doors now. They are doing them openly. And by so doing, basically, you are daring the majority of the citizens of this country to say that, you know what, despite the injustices, despite the treatment, hideous treatment that we made you go through, we are not done with you. And unfortunately, this is going to be met with a reaction. It's just a matter of time. Now, the question that one asks is that when that explosion happens, what will the world say? Because of clearly the world has taken a view about us as South Africans, that we can languish in poverty, unemployment, diseases, and all the worst that you can imagine. And still we must accommodate and accept racists, utter racists, to continue saying to us, you will continue living like animals the way you lived during apartheid and post-apartheid. And this is the situation that we need to navigate ourselves very carefully around it. Because of this country, South Africa, it is one of the most wonderful countries that you can ever imagine. We just need people who are willing to accept, one, we have wronged the majority of the people of South Africa. Secondly, we have stolen their minerals, we have stolen their land unjustly. And over the years, we have benefited immensely from that theft. Now it's time that we must give back what belongs to these people. And if they decide to share some of it with us, we will accept. However, unfortunately, El Hajj, that is not the case. They are adamant about their position, and they are willing to burn this country to ashes just to keep the proceeds of crime.
Mm-hmm.
Joining hands, Salam Media.